that didn't work out. But we learned a lot. Well, I learned a lot along the way. I'm not going to speak for you. So, shall I just do the first one? Okay. So first, imported the text file.
Kirsty, could you show us the website?
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh my God.
Wow. That's not mine.
Oh.
People give me a hard time for having lots of stuff open.
That looks like Ben's desktop.
Look at me using microscopic tabs.
Wow.
Just forget to close things.
Okay, so what's this?
This is of the top 100 NASDAQ companies. Carl did give me a good explanation. I wish I could regurgitate it, but it was great.
Very memorable.
It was unforgettable.
So what do you have to do from this page then?
Take these 100 companies, take the link to their Wikipedia page, so you just go for Activision Blizzard, and then take the information from the info box along the right hand side. Yeah, and then find the metric values, and then, in theory, put them into a visualization.
Bastard.
Okay, so we started by inputting the first Wikipedia page into Alteryx and then downloading it, and then separating out the web page by line. And
Can you show the bottom,
the
results?
And then the cells with aref in them are the ones we were after, so we filtered by with aref to get all the different companies and their links and information. And the first 103, that's the ones that had the 100 companies that we were after.
There was 103 companies.
Oh.
Hashtag 103.
I didn't make that connection. I was.
What does href stand for?
That's heading, right? Or
Hyperlink reference.
Oh, cool. And I don't quite understand. If it's class, then one of the titles was in the wrong field, so it had to be moved left, which is what this formula is doing. And then a little thing. And then using select to make all of it tidier.
So you only needed 4 fields coming from that.
Yeah. And then just clean up, getting rid of any white space or blank tab or or nulls.
Okay. After that, we had the URL here and the public name, company name, and the ticker. That's obviously useful for identifying which company is which. So, visualization, there would obviously be the bits that people are most interested in changing around with the information. But that's not really hard. So the first thing we did was pass each of the URLs to the download tool, which downloaded the company page per each URL. That was fine. And after that, we then passed from the HTML page just the info box, so just the box at the side that we were looking for in. And then after that, we were able to tokenize the HTML by the table rows, because it will come back by a table. So you can see that there's a big long list here, but if you just scroll along slightly.
What does tokenize mean?
Tokenize means to extract particular pieces of information.
Okay.
So our regex here was tokenized by things that start with TR, table row, then anything in between table row and end table row.
Okay.
So we then did some text columns to split out the row information, because in the table rows you have information about padding, about layout, about font and all that kind of thing, as well as the stuff you actually want to find interesting. And basically this is kind of where it went pear-shaped. Yeah. So, yeah, if you click on that one, and if you scroll along the pane, and if you stop there, so you can see that the different info table extractions have lots of different information that is not necessarily in either the right order, the same order, or the same format. So these are blank because these refer to the two pictures that are at the top of each info box, which is the company logo and the picture of its headquarters. But here you have type and industry, and the actual industry it's in is all the way over here, whereas products, revenue, operating income, net income. So this formula tool was to bring those back from over here into here. So a lot of the rest of what we were doing was attempting to try and kind of sweep the data in such a way that we could actually get it into a consistent format. And 70 tools later, or something like that.
70? 70?
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's not 80.
Can't say we didn't try.
With a lot of formulas, text columns, formulas to split them out again, occasional data cleansing. We eventually got down to splitting out most of the information, but as we continue to go along, because they are really long, including in some places where we had to just filter by the fact that it had billion in it, because some of them had revenue in billion, some of them have million. Obviously they're all words, they're not numbers, because of course, great, that's helpful. And eventually if you go all the way to the end, including splitting off where it would recognize billion in one row, but not recognize the same word underneath it, even though they're the same format as metadata. I have absolutely no idea why that happened. We eventually got to forking out between where they have currency, because some of them are in dollars, some of them are in euros, to something that is reasonably standardized, but not perfectly down here.
Keep in mind that the people online can't see where you're pointing.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
Yep. So info table 8.
So that's the column that you really want to work with then, is the info table 8, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ben's filter is in
Ben's filter.
fat.
It's disabled.
It's disabled because we asked him for help and he helped Kirsty and it's really good. And then we tried to run it in the workbook that I was working with the full length of data, and it created a table that had 171,000 lines in it, which was a surprise. If nothing else. And I'd run it, but it wouldn't finish running by the time both of us had finished speaking.
You've also restricted your heading so that it didn't include number of employees, whereas Ben's filter, as it's called, is all the digits and all the numbers, so it includes employee numbers. So we tried to fuse them together. It had, revenue in it a year, and then employee number in it something else. So it just didn't work.
One thing that I guess we found is that even though Wikipedia looks very standard, actually to a computer it's not, because often one of them would be founding date. So our Ben's filter was by digit. That means sometimes it would pick up date. So this company was founded in say 2008 because it's a NASDAQ and it's a lot of technology companies, but some of them would have founded 13 years ago or something like that. And as a human reading that, you just think, yeah, whatever. But as a machine, those things are really different. Because obviously it can't read and it has no concept of time. So it was.
Who gave you this project? It's particularly mean.
It was a valuable learning experience.
Yeah. So can you go back up to right before Ben's the tool right before Ben's step? So this is where, okay, go back a little bit right to your download.
This was half your time.
Right. So what I was wondering is, and then can you scroll to the right on your result set? Okay, that's it. And then what is that? Okay. I'm trying to look for the point where you get each company and then the table that you have for each company. Where is that farther along the stream? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the info box. Yeah, just like that.
So the download data is the data about each of those.
Yeah, I know that.
But it's fully embedded
I'm just
in
looking
that.
for something specific. So if you scroll to the right in that one, then right.
It doesn't fully show.
So it must be after the tokenize. Look after the tokenize at the end, the output of the tokenize. Right. So the info table is really what you need. So what I was wondering is if we had this as a data set at this point, would it be a useful data cleansing exercise to get it? So don't worry about I'm thinking kind of early on in the Alteryx training. If you had a data set like this, you've got the company names, maybe get rid of the download data and the headers, and you're left with just the rest. Would that be a valuable data prep exercise?
Yeah, I would think so, because that's probably where I got the most lost in that. Although
Okay.
I've done it before, and although I'm quite used to it.
So up to this point kind of made sense, right? And then it was all the zillion combinations of things you have to account for.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you output that step, put an output after that tokenize? And then, not now, just at some point. And then I created a new folder out on Drive underneath the data sources called Messy Data.
Okay.
And just stick it out there as an Excel file.
Okay.
That'd be really useful. And then we'll use that for a data prep exercise.
Okay.
Or even the YMSDB. That might be quite chunky, for example.
Well, we could try to do it in Tableau Prep as well, if you have it as an Excel file. Well, Excel's more tool agnostic, so. But no, it's I'm pretty impressed with how far you guys got along with this. It's really difficult, and it's funny, once you do one thing, you realize, oh crap, I didn't account for this use case, right? And it just goes. Did it feel like it was never going to end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was another method that involved, because some of the metrics had different numbers of metrics in each of the companies as well. So Ben suggested just restricting to the ones with 5 metrics, shoot it down to like 20 companies.
Okay.
And then their metrics were in a weird format. So then I tried to clean that up, taking out ones that had dates attached, and then it seemed fine. And then I looked at the numbers, and the numbers were all wrong. So yeah, it was a lot of different tries.
And they had numbers in where some of them even would have commas and some of them didn't, and obviously that changes the regex that you have to use if you want to isolate that particular number.
Yeah. So if you guys had to do one thing different, what would you do? If you had to start this again, how would you approach it differently?
I probably looked at it yesterday.
I gave you on Wednesday.
I'd message Wikipedia and tell them to make it nicer.
I think I'd plan out a bit better how I would do the data cleansing, spend a bit more time looking at what I needed to do rather than constantly caught out by, the first 5 look okay, and then you get to one in the middle and that hasn't changed. And
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. So a bit more maybe data investigation, I guess, ahead of time. Okay. How about you, Kirsty?
I guess the same. I don't know, I asked questions quite early on, so I definitely understand it a bit better now.
Okay.
So even though there's like 70 tools on it, I think it was worthwhile doing.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I do understand it a lot better.
So you're now, both of you are extremely familiar with the formula tool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And-
so it's not working out.
That's good. Well done. Really good. Good job.
As you've remembered so much about my finance and stock talk, should we do a separate session on finance and banking industry?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. I'll add that into the calendar. Is that right, Coach?
I didn't hear what you said.
Just with the chat, I've had it a couple of times in the last couple of days around the finance and the banking industry, around stocks, investments, asset managers. I did it for a few of the early PSs first update, so sounds like it needs to come back.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Conrad and Ellen, you guys are up?
Yeah.
You should have control now.
Brain is hot.
That was painful.
Yeah, it was.
I don't understand why you have to go to a separate room to concentrate.
I think it's like it's also like trying to think. And when
So
you're
the tools should be called moments of learning.
explaining
17
between
moments
each
of
other,
learning.
Yeah.
you're trying to work it out, and but you're trying to explain it. And you're like, I'm doing this because
The queens of the formula tool.
Thanks to instead of 70 tools to be creating 17 moments of learning.
Do you have airtime on your?
Hello. For our project, we were looking at Connell's estate agents, and we were looking at the respective branches that they had within each of these locations. And the aim was to take these, allow users to select a particular branch, and then have an insight into some demographic information within a 100-mile radius. And so this is where we took our data from. For example, the estate agents in Bristol, we would take the longitude and latitude related to the map and the branches within it. And that led to this, which Conrad is going to take you through the start on.
Startup. Okay, yeah, so show you this. So we just looked at, we put in the individual branches into an Excel file, and then downloaded all of those websites. We did a tokenize, so the same process as Kirsty and Louisa. I'll just zoom in a little bit. So if I just show you quickly how the data came. So this is what we were searching for. So every single branch had this kind of information within the HTML. So we were looking for the branches.push, and then we were looking to end it here to get back all of this data. So if I take you back to the Alteryx workflow, that's what we did. And then we data cleansed to get all of our data in a nice format. Then we did a really long text to column. So we did a 30 column text to columns, splitting on quotation marks to just break up everything. So that's how we had similar issues to Louisa and Kirsty, but that's how luckily it just worked for us. The data was in a slightly nicer format and more, it wasn't as variable as yours. And then throughout there, we just selected we got rid of all of the columns that we didn't need, and then we were left with longitude and latitude. As you can see here, there's just one column for both. So we did another text columns to split those up, and then some more to clean up to get it into just the longitude and latitude. And then I did this as well. And then we created the points from those longitude and latitude values, and then cleaned it up a little bit more. And then Ellen's going to take you through a little bit more.
Yeah, this is where the demographic data that we had to connect to. The stuff that we gained from the branches, these were all in postcodes and longitude and latitude, but the demographic data we had to connect to utilised LSOAs. So then we had to get an LSOA to postcode file to allow us to match between the two, and then we had to data cleanse this because they didn't match together when we joined them because of the differences in white spaces.
And yeah, then we joined it together, and then we had to join it to a shape file to get some of the information surrounding the geolocation.
So that's the shapes for the LSOAs.
Yes,
right.
yeah. And then this is a lovely box here. This is all the different aspects of the demographic data that we joined it to, because there was about 2 columns on each sheet within the Excel file. So that meant we had to connect to about 6 sheets to get dimensions. So that's what this is.
Is there a more efficient way to do that? No? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could have. Well, we already built an app that we didn't have to use, so I think at this point we decided to go into a macro. So we did a multi-join, and then we appended this to all the LSOAs that we had.
Okay, cool.
And then we took our branches and then compared these to all of the LSOAs to find the distance between these branches and the other LSOAs. And then we filtered it to only those within the nearest 100 miles.
So can you go to your, did you do to just the nearest or to everyone?
To everyone.
Yeah,
okay.
Every single one.
Because they've appended, they're essentially doing everything to everything.
Right, okay.
Very inefficient.
So you're finding the distance from every household to every
to every branch.
every branch.
They have.
Okay, so not just to the nearest branch. Like you didn't do a find nearest, you did find every.
No,
right.
we had to look at everything within 100 miles.
Oh, I see. Okay.
The demographics within 100 miles of each
I got you.
branch.
Okay, so you did need to do that. Okay.
Yeah. I would show you this if it would ever render, but it probably won't. And then just some selects to clean up, and then our output. And from this,
Nice data source name.
Well, we're a team. We barely made it to Tableau, but got there nonetheless. And we have you can filter by the branch name, and you can also choose a particular measure.
Crime score. That's my favorite.
Oh.
Where is this?
Ashford, yeah.
Okay.
And you can also
Figures.
You can reduce the distance in miles. You can also do 100 or 24.6.
Okay.
So inclined.
So that's the
darkest being those who rank
right.
highest.
So Ashford's kind of in the middle of that. Then is that what that means?
Yeah. So
okay.
If you go on, you can see distance in miles. The darkest,
I see.
that would
Okay.
be like the
that's cool.
epicenter.
That looks really cool. What other branches do we have in there? Let's pick something more local so I have an idea of where it might be. Worcester?
Worcester.
Do you want to?
No. We actually call it Worcester in Pennsylvania, but it's Worcester in Boston.
Luton.
Oh, goodness. Yes.
That looks cool.
So have you got all the branches in there, or just a few?
Oh, so the other one must have been on the
Because
coast.
I know
Yes,
we put it
really,
off like
really
that.
nice question.
I know St. Neots has a Connells, but yeah.
Glad you brought that up, George. Yeah, so one of the issues that we came across is, and there was a difference between the website. So if we, did you get rid of the? So from this list, if I get rid of the inspect, if you click on Bristol, then you can see that this is the kind of view that you get. Whereas if you click on Bedford, then it just gives you one branch. So just to show you again, Bristol has multiple branches, whereas Bedford only has one. So it gives you just a slightly different website view. So we focused on all the websites that had multiple branches. So the kind of HTML was different between the two, which made it challenging to do both. So it got a bit stressful, and it's quite close. It was towards the end of the day where we realised that, and we've decided just to look at the ones where there are multiple branches rather than trying to do everything. But thanks for bringing it up, Georgie. It's
So what
Trying
did you
time.
pick that estate agent because it's your names combined?
Yes.
That's a good point.
I seriously thought that was intentional.
No.
Was it not? Oh.
It was an actual project given to us by one of our clients.
Oh, okay.
Who shall name.
Was it Connors?
Yeah.
That's cool. Can you go back to your workflow?
Sure.
So you're doing the distance in miles between the lat long of the actual branch
Yes.
and the
Every other-
LSOA centroid?
Yeah. Well, we're doing
The
it.
edge of the LSOA?
Yeah, I think it'll be the middle of the. I assume it'll be the middle of the LSOA.
This bit is very inefficient.
Yeah.
We shall do. I will make that more efficient and send it to you.
Okay. How would you? Do you
So
know?
it's going for, so if you look at your configuration there, you've got so what does centroid represent there? Is that the centroid of the banks in that
Centroid,
area?
yeah.
Branches, yeah.
That's
where
the centroid,
where the branch is, yeah.
each individual branch or the
Each
cluster?
Each
Okay.
individual branch.
And
yeah.
then
And then-
the other is, so in the source spatial, it has to be the centroid of the LSOA, right?
Well, the spatial object is the polygon.
So back in the center of polygon.
Yeah, so this is the LSOA. So I imagine would it not just take the midpoint?
It takes the centre, and so if you look in the distance
Yeah.
tool, it says one of your options is create nearest interior point of the side of the polygon.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if it's
Oh, so
Polygon.
nearest interior point would be the closest edge to the polygon? Okay.
it's unchecked, so it's
So you get the middle of
So it must
the
be
LSOA.
centroid otherwise. Okay. That's a really practical use case for this. That's really good.
Yeah. I like the way it looks in Tableau. It's really. I think it's amazing. Yeah.
you can send it to Connell's.
So what's the step that you did? Just go back to your workflow, joining multiple so LSOA to postcode
Which one, sorry?
join, LSOA to postcode join.
Yes. So here.
In there is what?
So this is to get the postcode for. We have just postcode data in our branches.
Yeah, so in your input data, you have all the postcodes in each LSOA.
Correct.
Okay.
And then here we just needed to get something that gave us the LSOA here. So we've got the LSOA there, and then that allowed us to combine the shapefile on the LSOA code.
Yeah. But
So
within the LSOA, you also have all of the postcodes that are contained in that LSOA.
But those would drop out of the join though. Because when they join, in your first join there, they're only, the one before that, they're only joining postcodes that match. So
Yeah.
it's going to grab the LSOA for each postcode,
Yeah.
or for each branch, essentially. Yeah.
I have a question. Is it the hand tool that's making it inefficient?
It's that whole section.
The entire thing?
So
They
what-
should have done a spatial match using the centroid against the LSOA.
Instead of
That would
the.
have removed.
Yeah.
So
But you haven't done spatial yet, right? Or you have?
we did a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, just basic building some maps and
So
joining
just,
some stuff
just
together.
to clarify, instead of doing that join, they should have done a spatial match. Okay.
Okay.
But then still they would have all these comments that they'll need to bring in, right?
Yeah,
You
there's
still
some
need the
bits.
the
You
IMD.
can create a file between. We're on the time.
It would be a reduction of rows
Oh,
rather than
yeah, it's
reduction of columns.
1436.
Well, I think it'd be useful after you guys work with Ben to kind of clean this up, is to kind of show the before and after.
Yeah.
So maybe write a blog post together that has this and the way it looks, and then the after that you guys do, and explain the differences between them. I think that's what you're asking, right? Yeah. I think that'd be really handy to understand, yes, this works, but here's another way to do it that's more efficient, right? It's not bad. Yeah, nobody's saying it's bad. It works. That's what matters, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's driving the right conversations. Like, you've done it this way, I might come at it like this. What's the difference?
Yeah. That's the beauty of, Alteryx. You can probably come up with another 50 ways of doing it.
Yep.
But we haven't learned how to do that efficiency part, right?
Yeah,
you just use brute force to get it the way you know what you need it to look like at the end, and you just kind of force it in and make it work, which is fine. Yeah.
Good work.
That's good. Well done. Good job.
Tell me all about your choices.
Don't.
It's gonna blow your mind.
Damn devices.
Yeah.
There's a message.
Yeah, someone sent messages.
That was me. I was just asking.
What else is on the call?
George.
Hello. So, I was tasked by Ben with this nice little bit here, to create a Alteryx app that would pull images from a web search, that would then auto-generate a PDF. And the starting point was Google Images. Can anybody think of a reason why that might not be the best place to start?
Lots of results.
Incredibly illegal.
Legal issues.
Robots.txt.
Yeah, all of the above. I did try it, and I did find the HTML linked to the image. However, when you put that into Alteryx, take the HTML out, then you try and find that same bit in the raw HTML. It's not there because Google used JavaScript. So thanks, Google. So plan B was Pexels, to do the same exercise but use this search engine, which also has free photos, so no copyright issues whatsoever.
Did you do platypus again?
I didn't, but let's do that now.
Oh, because you're doing fashion. That's right. Yeah.
Well, you might want colours associated with platypus. This is the latest trend.
Well, on Andy's request, let's do platypus.
House of Fraser. Platypus.
I don't know why they'd be searching for it, but. And here is the app in action. Download it.
There was so much confidence. Revert it to your normal one to see if it works.
Try it again.
Try some.
You only pick something easy like
Maybe it's
Because we want to.
Yeah, how do you think about it?
Couldn't resolve everything. Excellent.
Okay, steps.
Search something else. Summer.
What is it with you and summer?
wishful thinking.
I know.
Maybe there's nothing with platypus on the website.
Yeah, it's probably they don't have
That's not many pictures of practice.
disappointing.
What's the name of the website?
Excellent.
Okay, we'll find something better.
Here we have it.
Hey, that's really cool.
Oh, wow.
Automatically generated PDF report. So, let's step into Alteryx and see how it happens. How the magic works. So, step one is to download the data, shockingly enough. So, here we start with a input URL. Here it's got the search term in the URL at the end.
So with a text box, you can just update that specific string, download that data, isolate the download field, clean it up because when it comes out of there, it's got lots of line breaks in it. Clean that up through, then run it through a regex. So yeah. So I've got the HTML code here. Yeah, this regex was just looking for the URL of the image itself. So it was wrapped in this src set and then had auto compress after the .jpeg. Because I wasn't interested in limiting the size necessarily, I decided to get rid of any of the extra bits that the website puts on the URL on the JPEG when it's displaying the image in the web page of the search results. I then rank them just so that I have a record of which ones were first in the list all the way through, and then cleaned up the URL so that I could input it into the data, into the next download. And then here I added that height restriction back in, because when it didn't have it, the download failed when the image was too big. Because in this download tool, instead of downloading it as a string, I wanted to download it as a blob, which could then be converted from a blob into a picture. So at that point, for some reason, once you convert a blob, it reorders the data. I can't explain why. So I just resorted it. Then at this point, I got friendly with everyone's favourite Ultrix reporting tools, which I've never used before and don't think I ever want to. So the first thing I did going into this. Yeah, thanks for this, Ben. The first thing I did going into this was just to see if I could create any PDF from these pictures, which did work, but it looked hideous because the pictures were all over the place and it was a bit of a mess. So here, I do a simple formula which takes the row ID, divides it by 3, but rounds it up to give me a row number. So here I'm going to have 3 pictures on each row, which the user can adjust using this numeric adjustment here. That means that in this layout tool, I can display horizontally, grouped by the row number, each record. So it gives me here, there will be 3, they're huge, so don't worry about details. There'll give me 3 pictures going along on each page. And then the rows go down. So then here I added in a header with the House of Franklin logo, as well as the title of the report.
Did you have permission to use their logo?
No, Ben told me to do it.
Okay.
So,
they don't exist as a company anymore, do they?
Yeah, they do.
Their own is fine.
My gosh, but I'm sure he's still on Instagram.
Okay. And then
here,
same thing with the footer then, right?
Yeah. Here I also linked this to the original input, so that whatever you type as your search parameter would come in the header where it says search terms. It would just be replaced like that. Did the same footer with just some bits and bobs. Then here I added the option to change between whether you want portrait or landscape, which generates the final PDF. So one more time. Who wants to search for?
Drinking party.
I
was just trying to find good images.
Yeah, I don't think the space is going to go well. So
it does.
Oh, snap.
Do you have a preference on orientation?
Portrait's fine. Yeah.
That's how to.
And how many pictures is it configured to bring back? The first so many or something?
How many are on the first initial URL?
The first page.
Without
Okay.
scrolling down. Because I think it also populates the JavaScript.
But it skips the sponsored ones on the page, or does it grab those as well?
I don't know.
Okay.
It might take a moment if there are a lot of pictures. It's just better.
I was just trying to find some funny pictures.
And there we have
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
There's got to be something better we could do.
This is so cool.
I feel like it's
I never thought about this as a use case in objects.
generating pictures.
All right, do
No, but
dog
someone's
dog
good.
wrestling.
Oh, what the?
No.
There's no
no.
dogs. There's no dogs wrestling. Just do dog then.
Everyone likes it.
See? There's no dogs
So
wrestling.
cute.
It's just cute dogs. I was hoping it would be dogs wrestling, but it's not.
It's weird that.
What would that even look like?
Just whatever pops into my head. A lot of random thoughts throughout the day.
Insight.
So two things for me.
Don't look at
One,
my Google
we have a
searches.
blog post on this because I
So many random thoughts pop into my
use
head.
case, so that'd be awesome. Two, can we switch the House of Fraser logo to actually be the information out of the logo so we can actually publish out there? No, that's fine, but can we do that?
It wouldn't make sense.
See?
That's the retail perspective.
I agree.
It looks like my dog, my old dog in the middle.
Mine Richie's.
I'll leave them.
We've lost Lane now. Happy graduation, Lane.
She's gonna start crying.
It's really cool.
Yeah, we can go one more.
Great use case.
Cool. So hopefully go back.
I'm saying yours is
Yeah,
I'd say at least
Because we're on this one right now.
now.
You won't be able to do it until
Alright. So he'll
just message him and tell him I might be a minute late because we're finishing up the presentation. Is this the last one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry,
Hold on,
Matt.
Georgie. I got to give you control. Oh, you got control? No, that's not you.
be like, hi, William.
Yeah, we're using the GoToMeeting for presentation.
Is there potential you guys might have to shoot off the
No, because they need the GoToMeeting.
Yeah, we're using the
No, but are we presenters? Annie, are we?
I made you presenter.
But you're not sharing your screen yet.
Share your screen. Yeah.
who did you make?
Okay.
You click on your dog, you can do
Just say our other cohorts using the GoToMeeting.
It's easier to present at the same time.
Hit share.
Because that's he isn't the presenter yet.
He's the share. He's the presenter. Just refresh your screen. George Walker.
Do I have to use this?
Yes.
So we, Lily and why can't we hear anything? Is it green?
Hello.
There we go.
So Lily and
Georgie.
we had to look at hotels for a hotel company that wanted to price themselves competitively for the weekend of the 14th and 15th of December. So we started with hotels.com as suggested, and that's what thing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so we started with hotels.com and chose the search as we were supposed to. And we went for 2 and 3 star rated hotels because that's what Ben said to do, because they wanted to be less than our 4-star rated hotel. Then we inspected the website and found which part we wanted to scrape, so this bit. And it was all going really well, and we were going to use the list class of hotel, and we put that into Alteryx and tokenized by that list class. And only 5 came out, and we were like, oh, what's going on? Because there's more than that. And then we went back to the website and saw that, much like Nick only taking the first page, it loads more as you scroll down when we get to the bottom. It did last time, so it dynamically loads them as you scroll down rather than paginating through them or whatever. So then we were like, oh, what should we do? And we powwowed with Ben, and he was like, well, you can either change your filters, or you can find a different website. So we went to booking.com and found the same search, and found the bit on the page that we wanted to do, put that into Alteryx, and had more success, which Georgie will talk you through.
Hello. Sure. Okay, so looking at booking.com, it's structured much the same way as hotels.co.uk. So go to it quickly. Yeah. Okay. And inspecting it, it comes up in much the same way. So if you just go on the container. Yeah, so the container here, there we go. And in Atom, I've kind of helped nicely. It's all this here. And you see, we ran into a lot of the problems that the other groups ran into. So at first, when you download it, it all comes out as limited. There we go. So we got a bunch of the downloaded data out, and at first we wanted to put them to text columns, much like what a lot of everyone else done, and how and Ben often mentioned it as being some of what we should have really done. But because we only wanted about 8 bits of information, and much like how everyone else has had it, I'll show you the end result very quickly just to show you the problem. Look, these nulls here means that essentially the containers are structured differently, much like the Wikipedia issue. However, how that information is displayed is constant. It might not always come in the same order, but it always has the same kind of architecture surrounding it, same kind of tags attached to it. So if we used regex parsing to bit by bit take out the pieces that we wanted. So here we got out that container bit, and then we passed out essentially the name. But as you can see here, if we were to pass it by a different standard, it would come out differently because of how it just changes consistently, just alters how it wants to display this information in the HTML. So instead we used the regex parsing to get the pieces we wanted because they were always tagged helpfully. So we did name, then we got the distance out. We've got the rating as well. The distance, by the way, is from city centre, so we thought that might be useful. We got coordinates as well, and we've also got the stars and hotel description. Now, there was one bit of really important data that we couldn't quite find. The price right there, and look, it's in the HTML code. Yeah, the most crucial, important piece of information. Now, why does it not turn up in the code in Objects? The answer is it's JavaScript. I think so, Ben. You spoke with Lily. So that meant that we were unable to get the pricing at all, which was a nice realization very late in the day. So instead, we just decided to randomly generate the price. What? Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, reading the brief again, it doesn't seem like that is an important part of the brief, does it? It doesn't seem like the entire point of the exercise. The reason why it's JavaScript is because it is so dynamic in how it changes. Instead of being a table at the back, it is fed in from other sources, I think. So, end result, we have quite a nice little table that gets every hotel. Yeah, there is some formatting issues with the HTML. Yeah, I'll point it out because people are going to notice it and then ask all questions about it. And then we also got the images as well. So now for a mediocre at best dashboard.
I think it's amazing. So this is our dashboard that we made, which shows you the hotels on a map. So this is Birmingham here. So don't hover over them, but if you click them, you can clean up the tooltips. If you click them, then it changes the little image of the hotel displays and the information, so the stars, the rating, the distance from the city centre. And then up here it will highlight on here, whichever hotel you've chosen, the difference in price between the 14th and the 15th of December.
The made-up price.
The difference in made-up price between 14th and 15th of December. And you can filter it, so if you as a company were looking to price wherever between 58.50 and 97.10, you can have a look at the hotels that are around there.
Cool.
And change the date and look at other hotels, but not the tooltip.
I'm going swimming next week.
Are you?
Hotels.
Oh, unfortunately, this is only Birmingham. It might be a bit of a commute, but it's probably not too bad actually.
We would have loved to have made it dynamic because the URL kind of allows for a level of making it dynamic. However, we had enough hurdles before getting to that point, and turning it into an analytical app wasn't part of the exercise. But getting the price was, and we found at that. So making an app out of it, yeah.
That's good.
The reason you can't get a price like it is just because hotels.com probably sell their data and therefore don't want anyone just stripping it.
Yeah.
So can you guys go back to your workflow then? Because I think you have another. Actually, I think all of you have data sets that would be good for practicing kind of the messy part after you download the data and everything. Would you guys agree? So where's the? I think if you go back, is it at the end of your tokenize? I think.
I think it's probably that tokenize that you want. When you've just got the individual hotel containers, the data.
Go. I think you want to go a little bit farther to the parse end of the parse. Yeah, but. So you had to. So after your tokenize, you did what there? You just did a select.
So at that point, that one there, this one there, that's getting out the hotel name.
Right. So where do you think they should start if they did an exercise for?
This point
Okay.
has already taken out the individual container, each HTML code.
So from there, it's just clean up for the rest of it.
From there, it's cleaning individually.
So throw an output on the end of that and stick it in that same folder.
Okay.
Yeah, where that browse tool is.
Yeah. Yeah, where the browse tool is. Yeah. Yeah. So everybody else do that too, wherever you think the good part is. That way we have some more data sets for exercises. Yeah.
Well done for adding the random pricing, just so you've actually got something to visualize and show, and then talk through what the possibility is.
Met the brief. Yeah, the brief just said to have a price, right?
And we have a price.
Rather than a price, but no, but I think ultimately it's you saw that you hit a limitation and you found a way to still get past that limitation to show what the capability could be if something was structured a bit differently, and that's a really good recovery. So that's nice. Good work.
Well done, guys. Good job. All right, that's it for this week. Good job, guys. Time for DS9 presentations.
Are we doing it in the room? Or should I bring the laptop out here?